Ryan, I don't know if you'll answer this, but I hope you will, because I want to ask you about a previous young Knick who there was trade talks about. And go back to 2017. Kristaps Porzingis skips his exit meeting with Phil Jackson. The Knicks eventually start listening to calls from teams on Porzingis. I remember standing in the parking lot of the Knicks practice facility, and I actually had some agents from players on your team asking me, hey, you think this thing is close? Like, you think my guy is involved? And I didn't know. Phil wasn't feeding me his ideas on trades, but every indication I had was that you guys were at least in the mix. How close were you to doing a deal that landed Porzingis in Phoenix?
Yeah, good question, Ian. I think it's always difficult to determine how close the deal was or wasn't, right? I think, there are two ways to look at deals. From my perspective, it's kind of black and white. Either the deal got done or it didn't. Without giving away, trade secrets, so to speak, we did have discussions with the Knicks about Porzingis up until, and I think on draft night in 2017, when I was GM of the Phoenix Suns. Other teams did as well. I really got the feeling at that time, and again, this is just my opinion, although I obviously had a lot of information at that time in particular as GM of the Suns, is that they weren't ready to trade Porzingis, but they were starting to think about it. And more than anything, Ian, maybe wanted to send a message to Porzingis that, you're not untouchable, nobody is here, and kind of turn the lights on as far as him, waking up and realizing that he could be traded. So that was my feeling and my takeaway. As far as what was discussed between the two teams and players and picks and all that, I don't want to get into it specifically, but it wasn't like, we had a deal, in my opinion, that we would have done or thinking about doing, and it just fell apart for whatever reason. I got the case that, unless we did something that, in my opinion, in our opinion, in Phoenix was reckless as far as, loading up with a bunch of young players and draft picks for Porzingis, there was going to be no deal, and the Knicks were trying to send him a message to get him back on the reservation, so to speak, because Ian, you know that team as well as anybody, there was some tension and friction between Porzingis and the organization at that time.
Yes, plenty of tension, and it actually continued to play out, as we all know, up until when they dealt Porzingis.